Hey guys, Technomentary here with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to be comparing the iPhone X or the iPhone 10 with the iPhone XS or the 10s here. In this comparison video in 2021, we're going to look at the hardware, the software, and the overall performance of these two phenomenal devices, whether you're looking to upgrade from another iPhone or comparing these two iPhones or looking to buy either or in 2021. Everything you need to know, we're going to break it down for you guys in this video. But before we go ahead and get started, if you guys are new to our channel, we do a lot of tech news, reviews, and giveaways. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you guys are in the market for a phenomenal device like one of these phones, are looking to get a discounted price, make sure you guys check out the link in the description section. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about these two iPhones. As you can see, head to head, by all means, both of these phones look like they're about similar in a lot of ways. That's because there are a lot of similarities, but there are differences that you might want to know, and this is why we made this video for you guys. First thing, let's take a look at the back here. First thing you'll notice in the back is that both of the phones look pretty much identical. Of course, they're two different colors here, but it's actual physical build. If you look at it, both of them have both front and back being all glass. You also have similar material built to it. They're using surgical grade stainless steel for both of the bodies. That's why you have this reflective bezel to it. Of course, the one thing you notice besides the camera between these two phones, which are the same as well, is the actual color difference, which is the first difference between it. The iPhone 10 only comes in the space gray and the silver white color versus the 10s, which introduces the gold, which for some reason, not sure why Apple did not have the gold for the 10 here. So if you're really adamant about getting the gold color, the S is where you want to get that gold color in. And besides that, that's the only difference probably in terms of these two phones. The other difference about these phones it is that both of the phones have about the same starting point in terms of price and such. That comes at 64 gig, that $999 price tag to it. Of course, the 10 was released in 2017. The 10s a year later in 2018. Both started at that almost $1,000 mark. But the thing about the S is that you're able to get up to 512 gig. Both of them do have the 256 gig model, but the 10 does not go any further. So if you're looking for more storage, you have your 10s, which has pretty much what the max storage current day, even on iPhone 12, is that grade level of your phone for that 512 gig on it. And let's go ahead and talk about the other aspect of these two phones. As you can see here is the display. If you look by side, it's really hard to tell the difference between it because both of them does have that 5.8 all screen diagonal OLED display to them, which makes them pretty much indistinguishable in a lot of ways. They have that HDR. They'll both also have that 1,000:1 contrast ratio, that true tone, wide color display, 3D touch, even the max brightness net of 625 to both of them. The one difference between these two devices in terms of the display is the resolution. The iPhone 10s has a 2436 by 1125 pixel resolution compared to the iPhone 10, which has around 2436 by 1125 a resolution as well. So in terms of resolution, very much the same. The PPI maybe slight, they're about the same as well. So if you look at the display on these two phones, pretty much identical. It's like almost, you can't really separate it. Apple hasn't done much in terms of the display, hence why might be the reason why it's really just hard to tell the difference between these two phones when it comes to display. Let's talk about the difference of another hardware piece is around the actual chipset on these phones. And the reason why there's a difference in chipset between is that the iPhone 10 came up with the A11 chip versus the 10s a year later. Apple introduced the 12 Bionic chip. But besides this chip difference, there's another slight difference in chip is that the 10 uses neural engine versus the 10s, which has the second generation of neural engine, and that's when you start doing a lot of multitasking, or if you're playing heavy games like PUBG, games that are meant to play on the console, is where you start to test out the hardware itself, which the 10s does a better job compared to the regular 10 here that we have. And let's talk about another aspect of these two phones is the battery life on these two phones. What kind of battery life can you expect out of these two phones? Well, like with a lot of the things we have seen so far, there's a lot of similarities in terms of these two phones, but the battery life is another distinguishing factor for these two phones. The iPhone 10s does have a bigger battery, hence why when you talk about battery, you don't want to talk about video playback. The S gives you about 14 hours of video playback compared to the regular 10, which gives you 13 hours. So even at the battery level, although there's an hour difference between these, if you have full charge to this, you can pretty much go out the whole day. If you're doing anything from basic calling, texting, and light browsing, both of the phones will get you through the full day. No issues there. They do pretty much exceptional job when it comes to the basic browsing and using apps on these two devices. Which brings us to the next point is camera, which is a really important aspect when you break these two phones down. You'll notice that the camera on these phones are identical thanks to the hardware build of it, because both of them does have that 12 megapixel dual camera on the back, and also the same for its actual front, which is the 7 megapixel camera. One thing you'll notice is the 10s does introduce a new set of features for the portrait mode. It has this high key light mono, which is not available on the 10. Does that really make a difference? Depending on if you're a photographer, not a person that really cares about it, won't really make a difference. The thing you'll notice between these two phones is actually they're able to record from 720 all the way to 4K at 60 frames per second. So identical in video recording as well. A lot of identical pieces to both of these phones. And that brings us to the other aspect on these two phones. As we mentioned, both of the phones, you're able to upgrade to iOS 14, no issues. And we want to talk about the actual video life of both of these phones, the software on these two phones, because the iPhone 10 is a 2017 device versus the S, which is a 2018 device, and Apple usually supports most of its flagship phone for a good 4 to 5 years. The S will win out in terms of the update. It will get probably a year or even 2 year more out of the 10. The 10 we suspect will still get at least another 2 major updates. The S might get another 3 or even more updates out of it. So if you're looking for a phone to use it for longer than 2 years, you might be looking at the S here that we have. And we've seen when we upgrade to iOS 14, if you guys haven't seen all the updates to iOS 14, is that all apps are able to download from your entertainment apps, such as, you have Netflix, Hulu, to YouTube, all of that, even music streaming apps. Both of the phones does a phenomenal job, no doubt there as well. Even for your social media, both of the apps are able to download pretty much all the popular social media nowadays without any issues, and they open up instantaneously, no lag or anything like that on either of the devices. So you're able to use that for your communication, social media, even for productivity too. If you're using it to multitask or do your finances on these phones, work phenomenal, no issues there as well. And that brings us to the last aspect of this video on these two phones that we want to talk about is which phone should you buy in 2021? Well, the reason why we want to say that you should buy the iPhone 10s is because 10s, it's a 1 year older phone, and it will give you more for your buck in a couple ways here. And a couple ways that the 10s is better than the regular 10 is that it has more CPU power. How much more? It has around 6% more CPU speed to it. It also has internally a 4 gig versus the 10, which only has 1 gig of RAM. So that's another aspect to it. And if you're looking for more storage, the XS here has around 512 gig max. So because the iPhone 10 only goes up to 256 gig, you're almost getting double with the max storage on the 10s here. Also, the other thing we notice is that the 10s does have a 1.71 faster download speed compared to the regular 10 here. The one thing we'll notice between that the iPhone 10 has is that it is a little bit lighter, only 3 grams lighter. That's the only thing coming out of it. So if you were to choose between these two phones, definitely in 2021, if you're looking to upgrade from one to another, it might not be worth the upgrade, but if you're upgrading for another device, another older generation, you might want to go with the 10s because it's slightly better and a little bit more power and speed, and that extra year of iOS support for the device. So hopefully this video was helpful for anyone looking to compare these two phones. We also want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about these two devices? If you're currently using one of them or like to use one of them, want to hear what do you guys think about these devices. Leave a comment in the comment section. Also, if this video was helpful to you, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time.